Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a show we haven't done in a long, long time, Transpicuous Views tonight. I have some stuff I want to talk about, and I'm going to open up this conversation with saying, everyone out there in the live audience, everyone on YouTube who are going to be watching this after the fact, I would like everyone to try to maintain an open mind. Try to maintain a neutral place as we go through some of this discussion. It's going to trigger a lot of people. I can already hear the YouTube comments coming in of people, you can't, okay, so just try and follow me through on this, but let's just be neutral. Just observe it. And let's get through this. I've talked for a long, long time about belief structures. I've talked about the belief structures that, okay, we have the big ones, like religion, political belief structures, etc. And sometimes it takes a long time to battle our way through all of those and get through them all. I've got someone showing up, and there we go. And you'll find little hanging on pieces where you hear yourself say something, and you'll go, oh, I can't believe I said that. That's like a really religious piece from my childhood background, etc. But we have other belief structures, and some of them are really, really new. And these are the kind of ones I want to talk about. I want to get into the facts versus fiction. More importantly, or more to the point, I should say, the mainstream versus the alternative media, and the belief structures that have been put in place. So I go through it a lot. Like I've said many, many times, you guys have, over the years, I've heard me come across my own belief structures and have to face them head on and go, oh, where the hell did that creep in from? The first one I want to kind of get into, this first bit I want to get into, is something that I've been kind of nibbling around the edges on for a long time. And I've even on shows kind of asked subtly kind of what if questions, like, well, what if that's not what's really going on? And maybe it's not as we perceive it to be, or as we are told it is. There is a trap. And I have found that, I want to say 99% of people, as they go through their, let's call it their wake up, when you start to figure out the shit that's going on around you, and you start to get into these deeper questions of what the fuck is actually going on. 99.9% of people fall into a trap, depending on how long they stay there or not. And that is when you learn about the mainstream media, you go, oh my God, the mainstream media is lying to us about everything. They're lying to us about everything. And it seems that all of us, for the most part, you go to a place when you come to that realization of, if the media is saying this, then the opposite must be true. And I mean, we know that's not accurate because there's a lot of pieces that are coming out, and we've talked about transparency recently, about there's big chunks of transparency coming out in the media, even if it's not necessarily portrayed that way. And of course, when you're on this journey, you go to and you start discovering your alternative media. And when you kind of leave the mainstream over here, there's almost like a pendulum swing that you go through where you go all the way over to the other side. And the alternative media must be telling the truth. Because if they're telling the lies, then these guys who are saying the exact opposite must be telling the truth. And herein lies the trap. What is the best lie to tell? The most convincing lie to tell, or the easiest way to convince everyone that a lie is the truth, is to give people 80% truth and then either let them erroneously lead them to a conclusion which is not true, or outright give them a conclusion that is not true. And this is a place where I've come to over and over again. And it starts off, you know, when you're dealing with the whole New Age thing, and someone will make a statement that's a very New Age statement, and he'll say, okay, but who said that? Who said that that's truth? And one of those, you know, like the universe doesn't hear the word no, was one of the famous ones I always use as an example. The universe doesn't hear the word no or not. Who said that? Did someone have a conversation with the universe and the universe explained to them that that's how it is? And when you ask someone, no one can ever respond because no one knows where that statement came from. But it has become perpetuated like a thick, heavy blanket across the entire New Age stage. It's just there and everyone accepts it as a fact. Same thing in the alternative media. We have the same play out where we find ourselves, I find myself, repeating something. Sometimes repeating something for years. And then asking yourself, well, wait a second. Who said this? Who started this? And where's the proof of this conclusion? How do we know this is right? And you start to question. And right now I'm in a huge, and I have been for a month now, I always joke about and say, question everything. You have to question everything. But there's certain things you don't think you need to question, right? There's certain things that you've just held there for so long as fact that you don't think you ever need to fucking question it until all of a sudden you do. And then all of a sudden you go, oh, where does that come from? There are certain pieces in the alternative media that have been now stated so often for so long, in such absolute terms as fact, that we now accept them, fuck off mosquito, as fact. And all of a sudden you have to come up and go, wait a second, have I ever actually researched this myself? Have I ever really done the research on this specific topic and gone, oh yeah, no, it's fact. No, that's exactly what it is. Or have we just accepted this compartmentalized ideology, theory as fact? And I'm going to throw a bunch of them at you right now. Tonight we're going to go through a bunch of these. The first one I'm going to discuss, and like I said, is going to trigger a lot of people, and that is chemtrails. The alternative media has gone on and on and on about chemtrails for years. Not just about their existence, because we all have eyes. We can see the chemtrails. We know they're there. Not just the chemical components, because all of us have read studies probably that have outlined and proven, without a shadow of a doubt, proven what the chemical components are that are in the chemtrails. The strontium, the barium, the aluminum, the mercury, etc. How are they sprayed? When are they sprayed? These are things that we go back and we can see them. We know them. Like we've all witnessed it over and over again. We've made associations through pieces of research that we've done that it's accepted. So when alternative media comes out and says to you, chemtrails, this is what they are, this is what they do, this is how it's done, this is when it's done. But when they come to the why, when they come to the conclusion, because we can verify all the who, what, where, and why, whens, we tend to accept the conclusion as an absolute fact. And I no longer think it is. We're told by the alternative media, the chemtrails, they're doing these chemtrails to poison humanity. They're doing these chemtrails to kill off all the plant life. It's all ties into Agenda 21, and yeah, we're going to go there too. It's nefarious. It's evil. It's being done for, pardon me, absolute nefarious purposes. It's a weapon against mankind, humankind, against plant life, against the planet. We're going to play again, what if? I have been doing a massive amount of research for the last 2 months, and I've talked about it bits and pieces here and there during our discussions on the amount of radiation that's currently coming into our atmosphere, the amount of radiation on the planet. Cosmic rays, UVA, UVB, UVC, ultraviolet, all these different types of radiations and cosmic rays, galactic, whatever you want to call them, particles that are currently flooding our planet right now. And the one thing that I keep coming back to in every single stage of my research is that this is fact. Right now, our planet is being fried. And I mean, seriously, we are being fried right now. The UVB indexes are off the charts. And we are now, and it's really, really hard to research this, but I found a few studies that show conclusively that UVC rays are now actually getting through our atmosphere and hitting the planet. Because up until even a couple years ago, it was always UVA comes through the atmosphere. UVB, only a little bit of the UVB comes through the atmosphere. The rest of the atmosphere stops. And UVC cannot penetrate the atmosphere. But it is. It is right now. And right now, it's off the charts. Now, for those of you, and we talk about these kind of topics all the time in the Unfuckers group, people who've got gardens who are saying, my plants are burnt. They're literally burnt. The leaves look like someone's held a magnifying glass to them. They're burnt. Those of us who go out in the sun and you're saying, I'm going out, and you can feel your skin frying. Like, and it's a different feeling. It's not like, I mean, I have been a sun worshiper my entire life. I love laying in the sun. There is a different feel to the sun right now. It feels dangerous, is the only word I can use. Now in February, I did a big article on it, and it was all about, they came out with a new study that they're going to create a veil, and they name it geoengineering, and they actually put it out there as fact And I said at the time, like, oh my God, like, they're fully admitting to this. They're fully admitting that this is what they're doing. Putting out a veil over the planet, and that one of the components would be sulfur dioxide, to mimic volcanic ash plumes, to filter the atmosphere, to create a filter to protect the planet. And at the time, I right in there with it going, oh, bullshit, blah, 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 geoengineering, oh my God, blah, what are they poisoning us with this time? Except now I'm looking at it and going, oh, wait. What if they actually are desperately trying to shield the planet from the ultraviolet radiation that's coming in? What if these chemtrails that we love to hate are a desperate move, or an act of desperation, I guess you could say, where sometimes these talking heads in governments, etc., have to make a choice. The benefits of the many outweigh the benefits of the few, or the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. And have they had to go to this place of saying, we don't have a choice. We know this is not healthy. We know this is not going to be good, but we've got to do something. Now, as a side point to this, does anyone have any idea what it costs? Has anyone done the research or been able to even find the numbers of what it costs to run these chemtrails all over the planet continuously? Because I've searched over the years, and I've never really been able to find any kind of a number that's nailed down. But we sat down, Nick and I, the other day, and we went through that and went, okay, jet fuel alone, let alone the costs of airplanes, let alone the costs of the actual airplanes themselves. Jet fuel alone, the cost of all the chemicals, the cost of the pilots, all the staff, and everyone to keep the entire thing going. We're talking about what I can only guesstimate to be billions upon billions of dollars a year. This is a global thing. This is a global thing. Do we really think that some richy corporation that's trying to wipe out humanity is paying billions and billions and billions of dollars to spray the atmosphere for years on end with no discernible, like, let's face it, they haven't killed off humanity, right? We're all still here. So it's not like it's working. If that was their goal, it's certainly not working. Okay. That's sort of one piece that I want to put out there. And I'm going to come back to this in a minute, because there's a lot more at play here with the whole radiation thing. Or actually, no, we'll go touch on this, because right now, the big excuse that's fed to us through the alternative media, if you say the word radiation, what is it that is immediately said by everyone in alternative media? What's causing the radiation? Fukushima. It's Fukushima. There's radiation Geiger counters are going off the charts in the US. People are walking around going 25 fucking rads. Holy shit. Oh, it's Fukushima. It's Fukushima. Anytime you're like up in the North Pole, they're detecting radiation. When it's down to the South Pole, they're detecting radiation. It's fucking the middle of Russia. They're detecting radiation immediately. Oh, it's Fukushima. And I have always questioned the Fukushima narrative, because it's just a little too convenient. A little too convenient. But it is almost like a programmed response now. And I dare you, any one of you, to go out into any of the groups, the truther type groups that you're in, make a comment about radiation readings on the planet, and then count how many people immediately respond Fukushima. It has been very, very well programmed. Because if you can point to this place over there on the planet, oh, it's that place over there on the planet. That's what's causing all the radiation all over the world. It makes it a fixable problem. A fixable problem. In the back of your mind, there's always this thing of like a corporation is going to come along, someone's going to invent something, and they're going to deploy it. And we hear lots of people talk about inventions to clean up the radioactive waste in Fukushima, et cetera, et cetera. Someone will go over there, the governments will finally get their heads out of their asses, and they'll go in and they're going to clean it up, and then it's all better. And my response to that, and every time I have this conversation about the whole Fukushima thing, I come up with the exact same quote because it like plays out on the movie screen in my head. In the movie Armageddon, when Bruce Willis is talking to Billy Bob Thornton, and they've just told him about the asteroid coming. And Bruce Willis says, well, I'm assuming you're not notifying everyone privately. And Billy Bob Thornton says, no, we can't tell the public. If we tell the public, it would be an instantaneous breakdown of society. Mass hysteria, insanity, craziness, basically the worst parts of the Bible. If you announce to the world that this radiation that you're detecting all over the world is coming in from the sun, it's coming through our atmosphere, and that there's jack shit that they can do about it, what's going to happen? What are the public going to do? Mass hysteria. For the most part, people are going to freak out. People are going to lose their shit. At least that's the belief of these talking heads in government. So therefore, you always got to make it, whatever the problem is, you have to make it something that it is plausible in the public mind for it to be fixed. Because if you make it something that is considered to be, unfixable, people will freak out. People will panic. Fukushima. Did it really even happen properly the way they say it did? We don't know. Hell, just last week we were questioning the whole Chernobyl thing. Nagasaki. Hiroshima. All nuclear disasters of one type or another. And yes, I get it. Fukushima is that much bigger, that much more powerful, etc. It's a very interesting piece to be placed into the alternative media, though, because it is now the pat answer that is given to any time someone uses the word radiation. Fukushima. Radiation equals Fukushima. No one is looking for the other sources. No one's asking the question of what else is coming through. Going back to the chemtrails, or going back to the statement that I made, which is the alternative media's absolute standby statement. They want to kill us all. They want to kill off humanity. And they want, they'll just keep a small amount as a slave race, but they're going to kill off all humanity. That's never washed with me. I've never been able to understand it. It just doesn't make logical sense. People bring up the Georgia Guidestones. Oh, what is that? What's the number on the Georgia Guidestones? Is it 500 million? Is that what the number is? The population has to be kept below 500 million people. Okay. We were discussing it this week.
500,000, I think.
No. It's in the millions. It's definitely in the millions. Okay. You could not run this planet with only 500 million people. Quite literally, you could not run. This planet could not operate. 500 million people, who's going to take out the garbage? Who's going to fix the roads? I won't even get into that. I'm not even going to sidetrack down that road. We are presented with this large package. And the large package is wrapped up in a bow of reasoning. And the reason for everything is because they want to kill us off. Because they're trying to wipe out humanity. They're trying to kill off humanity. Why? And yeah, we have all kinds of things. And we've had debates and we go, well, because they need people to be slaves. They need to knock down the population so that they're more easy to control, etc., 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 etc. And the one thing I've joked about for fucking years is the fact that we're still here and we're all still standing. Some of us sit a little more often than we stand, but we're all still standing. We're all still going. The vaccine programs, we're all still standing. Some of us are a little more fucked up than others, but we're all still here. We're all still pushing ahead. Chemtrails, yeah, some of us have a really bad cough. Some of us have issues that we deal with on a heavy chemtrail day, but you know what? We're all still standing. Agenda 21. Agenda 21 is thrown out there, and it's like radiation equals Fukushima. Every single problem in the world equals Agenda 21, or now Agenda 2030. It's the rote response to everything. Oh, well, they're chemtrailing, Agenda 21. Oh, well, there's the vaccines, Agenda 21. Oh, well, there's forest fires in California, Agenda 21. Oh, the whales are dying. Oh, it's Agenda 21. It has become a rote response, and I keep hearing it. Yeah, GMO foods, oh, Agenda 21. I've heard myself say these words 1,000 times. I've heard myself respond to people who've asked these kind of questions 1,000 times with the exact same automatic response. Oh, well, it's Agenda 21. What is Agenda 21? Go in, you look at it. I went through and I read the fucking document. Well, not the entire thing. It's like 300 pages long. But I went through and read a lot of the summaries. And we can turn around and we can go to that place that is that, here's your mainstream, here's your opposite side of the pendulum, and say, everything's a lie. Everything that's in this whole thing, all this United Nations, it's all a lie. They've got secret documents that are in behind it, and they've got other ways that they're going to do things. They're going to twist it around. You can interpret these words like this. But basically, Agenda 21 is about sustainability. Sustainability of the planet. Now, we may not agree with how they're going about it. God knows I fucking don't agree with how they're going about it. I eat GMO food crops and vaccines and all the rest of it. But Agenda 21 is not about killing off humanity, because it's the taxpayers who are paying to keep the United Nations running. Like it's your tax money that you pay that keeps the United Nations running. It's the tax money that you pay that keeps Agenda 21 running. Now, I want to stop here to say something. I am not saying that the world has not got some seriously fucked up, evil, vampiric, horrific, Satanist, baby-eating, evil fucking people. Because we know they do. Okay? We know George Soros is an evil motherfucker. We know that Hillary Clinton is probably one of the most scariest people on this fucking planet. We know about our Netanyahus. We know about the Koch brothers. We have these big names and faces that we know off by heart. And we know that they are just evil fucking incarnate. And it's like you say, you can look at these fuckers when they're being interviewed and see it in their eyes. You know. But it's a very slippery slope to take these few, and let's face it, they are very few. These few up here and then portray that down on the rest and say everyone is in that same group. Every politician is an evil, Satanist, baby-eating fucker. Every banker is an evil, fucking horrible, trying to kill off humanity asshole. The fact of the matter is, it's not true. Now, I was there for fucking years. For years, I was convinced that every single politician, that every single Hollywood celebrity, that every single doctor, every single fucking CERN scientist, every single corporate CEO for every single major corporation were the most evil, disgusting human beings, and I use that term loosely because I'm still not convinced they're human, on the planet. But over the years, I came to all of a sudden realize is that 95% of the fucking politicians don't know jack shit. And I mean literally don't know jack shit, whether it's at a municipal level, a state, provincial level, or a federal level, whether it's the bureaucrats or these people who hold high-ranking offices. The vast majority of them know jack fucking shit. They know what they are told. They know what they are taught, and they accept it as rote, just the same as you and me and everyone else did. They accept that vaccines are good because that's what they were told. They accept that I don't know, derivatives are a given part of the program and you have to have them because that's what they were told. They are people just like we are people. They have been just as fucking brainwashed as the rest of us. Now, there is a lot of them, we know, as I've given our examples, who know. Who absolutely fucking know. But there are, the vast majority of these people, they don't have a clue. They're kept, yes, Jenny, compartmentalized. Extremely compartmentalized. If you have one little piece that you look at and that's your area, then that's what your keyhole is that you look out of. That's it. And you see nothing else but that. That's it. That's all you see. In my background in maternal and infant health, I went through a very dark place for a long fucking time, where I was convinced that every fucking doctor was literally fucking evil. Horrible, horrible, disgusting people. How could they do these things to mothers and babies and children, and how could they? They have to know. And you know what? They don't know. 99% of these fucking doctors don't have a fucking clue. And if you know anyone who's been through medical school, you can understand why they don't have a clue. They don't have a clue because it's not included. All these things about things, for example, vaccines, it's not included in their education. They get maybe 35, 45 minutes, tops, talking about vaccine science. And then once they've gone through their whole university education, they're thrown into a hospital to do an internship where they're kept exhausted, overworked, where the only way they're going to get through it is to be the yes man. Hold on. Trying to turn off. The only way they can get through it is to be the yes man. And they're kept too exhausted to even possibly comprehend what really is going on around them. And then, basically, once they get that degree, they are inundated by big pharma sales reps who tell them everything they need to know about the drugs. And that's it. I've known a shit ton of doctors. And I've known some really, really awesome people who are doctors. And when you hear and you talk to doctors who come out the other side of this, who all of a sudden come to this place, and not just doctors, nurses as well, like our Jenny, who's here. When you come the other side of it and you realize what the actual fuck is going on in the medical world, it's a shock, like an abject shock to the system. And question, how the hell did I know? How did I not know this? How did I not realize that this was being left out of my entire educational scope? It's the same in every industry. It's the same in finance. We like to blame the bankers, but the bankers are a product of the school system, which keeps everything all compartmentalized and locked up. They're not really given. Most bankers have no concept of where money actually comes from. Unless you get really, really freaking high up in the bank, they have no clue where money comes from. They don't. We in this room know collectively more than probably the vast majority of the bankers on the entire planet when it comes to where does money come from. It's not part of their education. Yet we blame them, but they're just doing what they were told to do. They're doing what they were taught to do. And it becomes a very, very slippery slope when all of a sudden, all of they, them, all of them, they and them, they're evil. They're all evil. They're bad. They're corrupt. Because when you get to thinking that way, there's a subtle change that happens in how you view things. And it took me a long time to really see how fucked up my head was because of having this view of how it colors your perception of what's going on around you and the people you're interacting with. Yes, there are evil motherfuckers out there. We know there are. Holy shit, do we know. These CEOs of these pharmaceutical companies, unbelievable. Unbelievable. And I still hold to my whole thing of I don't even believe these guys are human. I really don't. Because they have, let alone being amoral, having no morals, they have no empathy. They have no inner consciousness. I don't know. But that's not all of them. That's not everyone within the industry. Because we have so many whistleblowers who come out. And right now, there's a flood of whistleblowers coming out who are going, holy shit, I didn't know. I didn't fucking know. And that should really tell us just how bad the situation is. Politicians. We have this thing all the time. I hear myself say it all the time. It's fucking politicians. And you post memes that are like nasty jokes about politicians being all going to hell and shit like that, along with the lawyers, you know. And yet, these guys, they don't know jack shit. And it's when you watch certain things going on. For example, back in 2013, and it was in England, and one of the dudes in the House of Lords stood up and started talking about where money comes from. And it's a famous video. Anyone, you should fucking find it if you can. I'll even see if I can dig it up. It's posted on my old RTS website for sure. And this guy gets up and he says, you know nothing. All these politicians do not even know where money comes from. They don't know what money is. They don't know how we create it. And yet they're passing laws on how to control it and how to use it without having any concept of the background. And that's just one aspect. These politicians, again, they're humans. They're people just like us. And they have their own biases. And religion is a really big one, and political bias and social bias and all the shit that they've been programmed in at school, they all have this. Does that make them evil? No, it does not. Now, here's the other thing. Regardless of secret space programs, which may or may not exist, regardless of massive underground bunker cities, which may or may not exist, all these people we've talked about, all these doctors, all these scientists, all these politicians, all these bankers, all these corporate CEOs, they all live on this planet. Their children live on this planet, and their children's children will live on this planet. And yes, there are, and I always say it's the 1% of the 1%, who are truly that evil and disgusting that they really don't give a shit about the planet or the people. But if you think that every politician actually feels that way, no. They know not what they do is kind of the... Okay, and Anastasia, absolutely. I'm not saying it's no one's fault. It's everyone's fault. It's my fault. It's my fault that I didn't know what I was doing before, that I don't know sometimes what I'm doing now, because God knows what I'll learn next week, which will disprove what I thought I know now. What I'm trying to get to is the point of there's so many things being pumped out at us through the alternative media that we swallow whole. Oh, we accept it as fact. We accept it as fact because we can see certain aspects. They give us the who, what, where, why, when, how. We can see that banking is fucking killing the planet, and derivatives and leveraging, and we can see the corruption in some of these disgusting bankers. We can see that vaccines are bad. We can look at the ingredients and go, holy shit. We can see all of these things. Therefore, we swallow whole the whole story and accept it as fact. And this is the point where we're at now, where I honestly really hugely feel that we all need to step right fucking back and look at everything. Everything we thought we knew, that we accepted as fact and as truth, and really look at it and go, okay, wait. Where did this come from? Who came up with this whole shit about Agenda 21 and they're going to kill us all off? Where does that come from? Who is the person who started that? And what is their basis for making the statement? Because that's where we're at right now. We're at a place right now where we got to really seriously fucking step back and go, wait a fucking second. I'm using chemtrails as an example. I don't know the truth of it. I don't know the facts. I don't know the truth of it. I can only give you the research that I've been doing. And I've been doing fucking piles and piles of fucking research, especially in the last 2 months on the radiation and the UVA and UVC stuff. Finding the research is ridiculously difficult. Like I said, UVC research right now, holy shit, it is unbelievably difficult to find any kind of scientific research with which to base any kind of theories on. Because quite literally, the data is all over the place. So we're stuck in a place where we have to go, okay, there is There's no one we can go to for an answer. There is no place we can go to get an actual answer on this. We're going to have to do the legwork ourselves. We're going to have to figure it out for ourselves. In which case, it means putting our heads to the grindstone, start doing the research, figuring it out. Sometimes it means having to fucking learn some of the hardcore science in the background to try and work through it. It means reaching out to different people who've got different levels of expertise and different kind of experiential background to say, hey, this is what I'm researching. I need to get more data. Can you give me some data on this? And Allison, you're right. Maybe UVC is really, really good for us. But from what I'm seeing, it's not. And I have to look at the fact. I have to look at the circumstantial evidence and say, the official story is that UVC doesn't even touch down on the planet. It's stuck up in the atmosphere. It doesn't even get down here, even though we now have proof that it does. And we have to look at the facts of what is going on around us. When you see dogs covered in massive fucking sunburns to the point that their skin is charred, we have to stand back and go, wait. When you can go out in the sun and you can feel your skin frying and it feels like it's frying from the inside out, literally from the inside out, you have to stop and take a moment and go, what the fuck? When your plants in your garden that you've lived in for 20 years and your plants are all of a sudden literally look like someone's held a magnifying glass over them and burnt them, we have to take a step back and go, wait a second. Wait a second. We have to look at everything. And Nick actually coined a term a couple of weeks ago, and I fucking love it. And I think it was one of those, when we talk about we have to invent new words and we have to start inventing our own language, this is one that I'm going to really, really put forward, and is holistic scientists, holistic researchers. This is what we need to be. Because it's now going to be up to a lot of us to do the legwork and figure out shit that's going on. Because we have to stop relying on other people giving us the answers. We have to stop it. Because all of a sudden, you start swallowing answers, may not be the truth. Right now, there's a lot of shit going on. And I personally am in a place where I'm questioning fucking everything. And I mean everything. Because I've just discovered I have too many fucking belief structures in my head that I'm continuously butting up against. Why do I believe that? Who said that? Where does that actually come from? And what proof is it that it's real? Going back to the Agenda 21 stuff. We know that people like Soros are doing everything they can to run their little con game. We know that people like Hillary Clinton and, your Tony Blairs, your George Bushes, your Netanyahus, your Erdogans, these guys are mad evil fucks who will suck up everything they can get. I'm not saying that these guys don't exist and they aren't trying to push their little fucking agendas. What I am saying, though, is Do you really think these guys can convince the rest of the world, and I mean the rest of the world, that means every other politician on the planet, to spend billions and billions of dollars a year on chemtrails, on CERN? CERN is another one. God knows I've done a shit ton of shows blaming CERN for all kinds of shit. And I'm still not entirely convinced that those guys know what the fuck they're doing. But CERN costs. Like I said, I said this the last time. I can't remember the exact number. I'd say it's $21,000. It may be $31,000. But we worked it out one time back in 2015. CERN costs $21,000 a minute to operate. Do the math. Who's paying that bill? Who's paying that bill? And what country is going to agree to foot that fucking bill for looking at bosons and Higgs bosons, and we're going to look for a God particle? We all know that the official reason why CERN is there is a crock of fucking shit. Okay? Yet everyone, all these big corporations, all these big companies, Freudian slip, all these big countries, they're all paying it. They're all member states of CERN, and they pay to support it. What if CERN is doing something that's actually for our benefit? What if they're using CERN to try and counteract some of the shit that's going on right now? Now, I had a conversation with a friend of mine who's a scientist. And he talks the same thing as what Cliff High mentioned about the fact that our atmosphere got stripped away. We lost a massive strip of our atmosphere in 2004. Like, it just got stripped out. So our atmosphere, instead of being here, is now like down here. And this scientist hypothesized that they may be using CERN as a way to send up energy waves to try and keep the atmosphere up, to push the atmosphere up and keep it up there, to keep it balanced. There are two sides to every story. There are two sides to every story. And sometimes the most difficult job we have is to try and figure out where the actual truth and facts are. But it is never a pendulum. That's the mistake I made for fucking years. It was like, the mainstream media says this, the scientists say this, the government says this, well then it's got to be that way the fuck over there. Not just the opposite, but like way the fuck opposite has got to be the truth. That's not necessarily true, though. That's just a polar opposite. It doesn't make it true. Now, I don't want people thinking that I'm not trying to create a fear porn thing here. That's not what this is about. I'm not here to try and talk to everyone about this scary radiation that's coming in. Oh, be afraid, be afraid. But when do we put aside our belief structures and start looking at the reality that's in front of us, start really doing the research ourselves, or in groups of us, obviously, to try and figure out exactly what it is that is going on and preparing ourselves for it. Now, here's one of the things. I went back, because I go all over the place when I do research. I don't just do scientific journals and stuff. I go back through old prophecies. I will go back. I will go deep into the woo-woo type stuff as well. And a lot of people love to always use the Hopi prophecy of the Rainbow Warriors as an example, as kind of a shining example of what to look forward to and where we are now, et cetera, et cetera. It's like, oh, and the Rainbow Warriors will come from unite all the tribes, and everyone will work together, and everything will be wonderful. But there's another part to that prophecy that no one likes to talk about. Everyone likes to look at that pretty part of the prophecy, the Rainbow Warriors, it's all wonderful, there's the end of it all. But no one likes to talk about the beginning of the prophecy, where it talks about the floods and the storms and the volcanoes. And one of the pieces it talks about, and I saw an image somewhere, and it was just a few months ago, where the sky would burn and people would not be able to go outside during the day because they would burn. That's what we're talking about right now. That's what's happening right now. And I'm not going to go to this fucking new age fucking belief shit of like, oh, love and light, and we're going to create it, and we're all going to wish it to be like a rainbow farting unicorn, and it's all going to be perfect. Yeah, fuck that. I'm sorry. I'm a prepper. I've been a prepper my whole life. And I put that aside when I found the new age shit, and I tried to be all love and light for a while. And yeah, no, I'm back to prepping again. I'm back to storing water. I'm back to really fucking looking at this shit and going, yeah, you know what? There's shit going down. There's shit going down. And we can ignore that shit. We can ignore it. Or we can look at it and go, nah, there's fucking shit going down. It is what it is. I'm going to deal with it. Here's how we deal with it. Now, I want to go back to the whole alternative media thing. Because we know that the people like Soros pay vast amounts of money to create alternative media outlets to push their agendas through. We know that these guys do this because how many of us have outed them? How many on Fuckers Group, someone comes in and says, hey, what do you guys think of this website? And everyone goes, oh, are you kidding? Oh my God, no, that's run by George Soros, so that's Antifa. The best way to keep people inactive. What's the best way to keep people inactive? Sitting on their asses, staring at their navels. Well, we have the new age version of that, where, it's all done. Everything's love and light. Don't give any energy to the negativity. You have to just think nothing but positive things. The other subtle one, and this one just hit me today. It hit me like a fucking sledgehammer up the side of my head. If you have all the awake people, all the people like us, the people who fucking get it, we've done research and we know where money comes from, and we know about the corruption in banking, and we know how fucked politics is, and we know how fucked the environment is, and we know all this shit. Because collectively, this group knows fucking 1,000 times more than every fucking congressman in all of the US. I shit you not. So what do you do to disempower that group? This one, I'm telling you, it hit me so hard today, I literally almost fell off my chair. You tell them, don't vote. You don't want to be involved in politics. Politics is all bullshit. you don't want to vote. You shouldn't vote, because if you vote, then you're giving consent to this system, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So you shouldn't vote, and you shouldn't get involved in any kind of political movements whatsoever. Is that how we change anything? No, that's not how we fucking change anything. That's how you get all the people who possibly could change everything to sit on the chair with their thumb up their fucking nose going, yeah, no, I'm not going to get involved because, I'm not going to pay into the system. Well, guess what? You might be the only person who knows how fucked the system is who might actually be able to make a change. But we have been indoctrinated, literally brainwashed. Every time there's an election, every time I watch this, and I do it all the fucking time. Don't go and vote. Why would you go vote? You're just paying into the system. You're giving your consent into the system. They took your consent already. If you don't vote, they consider it tacit consent. Right? They do. So why are we sitting on our asses allowing this shit to happen? Why? We're at a point now where we are the people who actually have the knowledge. We are the holistic scientists. We are the holistic healers. We're the holistic researchers. We're the holistic economists. And the only people who are going to actually change the system are going to be us. And I literally had this moment today of like thud, because I had back when I was heavily involved in all the parenting groups and all the maternal and infant health stuff, I had a shit ton of people who were telling me I should have run for government. They were like, you got to get in there. You got to run for government. You got to run for city council. You got to go because you can start making change. We'll vote for you, blah, blah. And I was like, I didn't get involved in politics. You got to be joking me. Never, 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 never. Not going to happen. But now I got to ask the question, what if we had all done this? What if we'd gone and gotten on the school council and started working to make changes there? What if we'd gotten on, moved from there up to the city council or the local council and started making changes there? And what if over the last 20 years of us sitting on our asses saying, oh, I'm not going to vote because, it's just, bullshit and all this. What if instead we had actually been doing something to change the system? This is about us doing the shit that we need to do. This is about us because we are the only ones left who are going to do this shit. And the only way we're going to wake up the politicians and the doctors and the bankers and all these other people is to show them. And it's hard work. No, Anastasia, I disagree. The cancer is not too deep now, and I think that's defeatist. And that is the kind of thing, I'm sorry, that got us here in the first place. Is either A, we can't change the system. Don't go out and march. Don't go out and get involved in protests. Don't write petitions because, they don't work anyway. So you don't. And therefore you don't know if it's going to work or not. Don't get involved in politics because you can't change the system. Well, how do you know you can't change the system? If you get more and more people, if you take 50 people and you drop them all into a system, it spreads. If all the people literally started getting up and actually making these changes on the school council, like I said, it doesn't have to be like go to the federal courthouse and try and do it. Start locally. Start doing the things that we keep talking about need to be done, but no one's fucking doing them because everyone's waiting for someone else to do them. Meanwhile, we're sitting around because we've been brainwashed to believe that we shouldn't do them, that we can't do them, and that, it's this, that, and the other. I'm not saying that this is the answer, but I am trying to point out the massive amount of programming we have been under for a long, long time. The programming that says you can't change it, the programming that's extremely defeatist in the fact of you can't do anything about this, and it's all evil, 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 evil. And the programming that says that let's take this thing that may actually be for humanity's benefit, maybe, but let's get people marching against it. Let's get them completely programmed to believe it's the most utter evil thing in the world, so they will fight and spend all their energy fighting against this one thing that maybe is actually being done to try and fix shit. There's a lot of shit going on right now. A lot of shit going on right now. And I know that we talk about this all the time. And I think our first step in really dealing with this shit is to really look at the pieces that we are accepting as facts. Really look at them again and ask the tough questions of like, is this actually true? Or is this what I've been taught to believe is true? Is this factual? Just because it's the opposite of what CNN says? If alternative media guru over here says this is the opposite, does that mean it's actually true? Or is the actual answer something that no one will even talk about? No one will even talk about it because it's too scary a place to go. And it might be right in the middle. It might be 20% to the right, it might be 20% to the left, 30, 15. But the opposite is almost never true. And we always talk about how we need to find the balance point. And we always talk about the fact that we need to do the research ourselves. And like I said, this has been a big one for me for the last few weeks. That recognizing just how much I personally have swallowed as fact, that I've personally taken on as a belief structure and believed that was the absolute truth. And yet when you look at it, wow, where's the research? Where's the proof? Where's the, like, let's really, really fucking look at this for a second. Now, I've just thrown a few on the table tonight, using chemtrails and Fukushima as being two of the biggest examples. There's a ton of examples. There's a ton of things that if you really start asking yourselves the questions, you're going to have to start going to a place of like, wait. Is it some nefarious deep purpose that's putting this law, this product, this thing in place? Or is it simple stupidity and greed? And I'm not excusing stupidity and greed by any fucking means. Like, not at all. They all need to be given a slap up the back of the head. But how much of it is actually nefarious, ooh, Dr. Evil type shit? And how much of it is people who are stupid who don't know any better, and simple greed. Big Pharma? I'm sorry, it's all fucking greed. It's all just about fucking money. That's all it is. The more vaccines they put out, the more sick they make people, the more drugs they sell people to make them feel better because they're sick from the vaccines. I am still 100% convinced that absolutely everything that the Big Pharma does is motivated purely by money. I'm not saying that these bad fucking assholes aren't out there. But when everything is twisted to follow one narrative, one storyline, and they like a rope where they just take all the threads and they twist them all together and it all becomes part of that one thing. How factual is it really? Because you know what? If it's simple greed, we can deal with that shit. Easy peasy. We can deal with that shit. And my dog is pushing my chair. Stop pushing my chair. But it takes all of us really standing back and looking at all these pieces we have been told, all these pieces that we've consented to swallow whole. We've done it ourselves. It's our own hole that we've dug for ourselves. We all need to look at these pieces and really look at them. Because we need to get past these belief structures. And man, am I ever discovering just how insidious those belief structures are. Holy shitballs. So much going on. This is just an opening conversation. This is just an opening conversation. Because right now, I think we are now in a place where we do actually have to go back and analyze everything that we've accepted. Everything that we thought was fact, everything that we have accepted as fact, we now have to go back and really look at it again. Because the only way we free ourselves, the only way we move forward is when we do it. When we do it. And it doesn't serve us, and it doesn't serve our families, or our friends, or our community, or anyone else to sit back and say, I can't do it, I won't do it, I shouldn't do it, or to wait around for someone else to do it. We may not want to look at the ugliness that is out there. A lot of people will do anything in their power to not look at the ugliness that is out there, the perceived ugliness that is out there. The things that are not fun, that are not happy, that are not wonderful. The shit. It takes a strong stomach to look at the shit. But because we don't look at it, does not mean that it isn't still there and it doesn't exist. Not looking at it doesn't make it go away. The only thing that makes it go away is getting into the hard work and us working together to make it go away. I really, really do think this is the moment, people. This is the moment. This is the moment where we have to do what we have to do. Well, guys, let's see. I ranted for an hour and 15 minutes. Wow. Sorry. I didn't think I was going to go that long. We're going to turn off the live feed in just a moment. And I will, all you guys in the Unfuckers here with me, you guys can open the thing. Well, let's ask the questions. Let's have the conversation, the discussion, which I'll put out separately as a separate recording. This is the opening salvo. This is the opening statement that I wanted to make. Where we go from here, I think is really, really important, but it's going to be something we're all going to have to throw shit on the table. This is a group effort. This means everyone's got to bring their shit to the table so we can all look at it. And it's not an easy, fast one. This is going to be probably a lot of discussions that are going to go on with this as we work our way through this next level of shit. Okay, well, that's it for me for now for our live feed audience and those of you on YouTube. And we will be back on Sunday for the Sunday movie night. We haven't figured out the movie yet this week. Oh, I haven't looked at the poll, so I'm not sure what movie. Last I looked, it was Avatar was in first place on the movie poll. But we'll figure it out tomorrow, and I'll put up a notice for everyone so they'll know what movie's on Sunday. Yeah, I'll be back with more of this conversation, guaranteed. There's a lot of shit in this to discuss because then you have the breakdown groups that we're going to get into, and that's going to be things like talking about radiation, talking about how we protect ourselves, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to say good night, everyone, and we'll be back next week. Bye.